Trent Alexander-Arnold says he has mixed emotions about returning to Liverpool as a Real Madrid player. Trent Alexander-Arnold has admitted that he has mixed emotions ahead of his Liverpool return. The Reds are set to take on Real Madrid at Anfield on Tuesday evening in their next Champions League clash. Many were wondering whether the right-back would even be fit enough to play against his former club due to the hamstring injury he sustained earlier in the season. In the end, however, he's managed to make a full recovery, with the defender saying that he felt that it was destiny for him to be returning to Liverpool this season. Trent Alexander-Arnold knew that Real Madrid would get Liverpool in the Champions League draw. Before the Champions League draw was even conducted, most fans were wondering what would happen if Real Madrid were drawn to face Liverpool. Alexander-Arnold's Anfield exit left a sour taste in the mouths of fans as, despite him hinting that he was going to stay put throughout most of the 2024-25 campaign, he chose to jump ship. Ali McCoist has already said that the reception he'll receive from Liverpool fans will be hostile, with none of them being able to understand why he chose to leave. And now, while speaking to Amazon Prime Sports, the Englishman has shared how he really feels about returning to Liverpool so soon. "I think when the draw was announced, everyone kind of knew it was going to happen," he said. "It was destined for that fixture to come, and obviously they're a top team, so I knew at some stage, at some point, I'd end up going back there or playing against Liverpool here or there. It's happening so soon, mixed emotions, and I think it will be a very difficult game, but it's one I'm excited for." He was then asked why he thinks it'll be a difficult game, and he replied, "Of course the reception and the atmosphere will contribute, but more so the football for me. I played there with the lads and under the coach. I understand how good of a team they are, and although they haven't had the results of late, they're still a top footballing team and nobody here thinks it's going to be an easy game. Liverpool must do everything in their power to stop Trent Alexander-Arnold's creativity coming out against them." There's no hiding from the fact that Alexander-Arnold is one of football's most creative players. Although his natural position is as a right-back, he's been used as a defensive midfielder and is often seen pushing as far up the wing as possible. His range of passing is impeccable, and even though his defensive work may not be the best, he more than makes up for his shortcomings when on the attack. Liverpool have missed the number of chances that Alexander-Arnold made for them this season, with neither Connor Bradley nor Jeremy Frimpong being able to live up to his standards. Florian Wirtz was brought in to help try and fill the void, and even though he's now got 3 assists, he's failed to live up to expectations. If Liverpool don't manage to close Alexander-Arnold down on Tuesday, they could find themselves in a whole world of trouble, especially with Kylian Mbappe and Vinicius Jr. leading their attacking line. Crystal Palace chief lifts lid on Marc Guéhi's stance after failed Liverpool transfer. Marc Guéhi was set to join Liverpool on deadline day, but Crystal Palace pulled the plug on the transfer and the England defender is now a free agent. Marc Guéhi saw a move to Liverpool collapse. Crystal Palace chief Steve Parish has conceded that Marc Guéhi now holds all the cards when it comes to selecting his next club following the breakdown of his proposed transfer to Liverpool. The England international came close to completing a switch to Anfield in the dying stages of the window before Crystal Palace withdrew from negotiations on deadline day. Currently, Guéhi is poised to depart Selhurst Park without a fee when his contract expires. Liverpool have predictably been mentioned as potential suitors, whilst Bundesliga powerhouses Bayern Munich have also recently been linked with a move. Providing an update on Guéhi's situation, Palace chairman Parish has acknowledged that the Eagles were unable to sanction the sale and accepts that Guéhi now controls his own destiny regarding his next destination. Providing an update on Guéhi's situation, Palace chairman Parish has acknowledged that the Eagles were unable to sanction the sale and accepts that Guéhi now controls his own destiny regarding his next destination. Speaking on the Men in Blazers podcast, he said, "Well, we did quite an analytical look at it in terms of what do we think Marc's worth in terms of places in the Premier League. Obviously, what does it do to that mentality, that psyche, that belief system, all of those indefinables. And you know, what's the upside and what's the downside? It was a very marginal call. Marc was great about it as a person." Marc Guéhi saw his switch to Liverpool collapse late on in the summer. Liverpool made the offer. It was a massive club. He was obviously interested in going, but he was fine about it, staying, if that was the decision we make. Obviously, it means all of the ball is in his court tremendously as a player, and he's got the choice of wherever he wants to go. It was a very difficult one, but I think definitely the right one. He added, "So we needed to keep Marc because the difference between us having a stellar season and having a relegation-threatened season is us winning 5 games or not. So the margins in the Premier League are very tight, and you have to remember that Michael Olise has gone, we're okay. Ebrechiez has gone, we're okay. Wilfred went, we're okay. There's a limit to how much you can keep doing that before you break down the fabric of the team. Following the decision to retain Guehi, Palace has made an encouraging start to the campaign. The Eagles currently occupy 10th position in the Premier League table and have progressed to the Carabao Cup quarter-finals following their impressive 3-0 triumph over Liverpool at Anfield. That setback represented the latest chapter in a difficult spell for the Reds under Arne Slot. The Merseyside club have suffered defeat in 6 of their previous 7 fixtures across all competitions. Liverpool linked with Bayern Munich defender, but it's not Dayot Upamecano. Liverpool is short of options in defense after missing out on Marc Guehi during the summer transfer window, and a Bayern Munich defender is being linked with a move. Kim Min-jae is being linked with Liverpool. Liverpool is being linked with a swoop for Bayern Munich defender Kim Min-jae, as the club looks to solve its defensive issues. Arne Slot's men have kept just 2 clean sheets in 15 games this season, with the most recent coming against Burnley on September 14th. Ibrahima Konate and Virgil van Dijk have both struggled to hit the heights they reached last season, while Giovanni Leoni's serious knee injury has left the Reds with just Joe Gomez as backup to the first-choice pair. Liverpool came close to signing Marc Guehi from Crystal Palace on deadline day in September, and the collapse of that deal at the 11th hour was a major blow. Guehi was on the opposite side as Palace got the better of Liverpool for a 3rd time this season in the Carabao Cup on Wednesday. But while he will almost certainly leave the Selhurst Park club as a free agent next summer, there are no guarantees that he will join Liverpool. On account of him being available on a free transfer, Liverpool is likely to face competition from a host of other top clubs in Europe to land Guehi, whereas the Reds seemingly had a free run at him earlier this year. Dayot Upamecano has also been linked with a move to Liverpool in recent weeks. Spanish outlet Fichajes, which is admittedly not the most reliable transfer source, says Kim has emerged as a possible defensive target for Liverpool. The Reds have also been linked with a move for another Bayern defender in Dayot Upamecano in recent weeks. Kim has been at Bayern since joining the Bavarian club from Napoli in 2023, but he is currently not in Vincent Kompany's first-choice defensive pairing. That is made up by Jonathan Tah and Upamecano. It is claimed that Bayern will not make a hasty decision on Kim's future and will at least give him until the end of the season to prove his worth to Boss Kompany. Inter Milan and AC Milan are said to be the favorites to land Kim should he end up leaving Bayern, but the Premier League is a possible destination for the 28-year-old, with Chelsea and Spurs also linked. Were Bayern to ultimately decide to sell Kim, the club would reportedly want to recoup the amount of money it paid Napoli to sign the South Korea international. Bayern spent $50 million, $58 million on Kim 2 years ago.
Arne Slot makes Liverpool kids part of the misery in sacking footnote. Alexis Mac Allister in the rain for Liverpool. Arne Slot claiming he's trying to create a pathway for young players to play in front of 60,000 people, as justification for his team and squad selection will have offered scant consolation for the majority of those 60,000 supporters, who will have hoped to watch the senior Liverpool team fronting up and possibly winning a rare game of football rather than the kids lose one. They will have seen through that nonsense in any case, even without their manager revealing the second, much more convincing reason for ceding this game to Crystal Palace. Slot added, "If we keep playing the same players, like for example I tried with Alexander-Arnold, with players that are missed out on pre-season, that is a big risk of another injury, and we only have at this moment of time 15 or 16 senior players available." Social media was awash with perplexed and frustrated Liverpool fans after the team's news was announced, with the squad named by Slot seen as an admission by many that the Dutchman couldn't care less about their progress in the Carabao Cup, or indeed a victory to break them from their funk. 10 changes to the starting 11 and 6 players on the bench with squad numbers in the 90s was testament to that indifference and suggests Slot believes his Liverpool stars need a rest more than the club needs a win, which is quite something after 5 defeats in 6 and 4 on the spin in the Premier League. The Carabao Cup has indeed historically been used to blood young players, by Liverpool and others. Rightly or wrongly, it's seen as a free hit. Victory would be nice, but resting overworked first-teamers is the priority. But the free hit and the rest should be a luxury earned by decent performances and results. And while Slot will be hoping the narrative after this game will be based around the idea that it doesn't really count as a defeat because of the relative experience of the two teams, their horrific run negates that typical leeway. The kids would normally be hailed, win, lose or draw, for doing their club proud after a game like this. Instead, the focus will be on why Slot decided to put them in the firing line for shots that should have been aimed at the overpaid flops who have slumped dramatically this season to put them in crisis. This should be a game to buoy the young players, but Slot has made them a part of the misery, with their takeaway from what will have been one of few tastes, if not their first taste, of life as a Liverpool player at Anfield being that it's a stadium full of depressed, silent fans who are understandably irritated to be watching them as Virgil van Dijk, Mohamed Salah and the rest of them watched on in their cozy coats. After Ismaila Sarr scored his fourth and fifth goal against Liverpool in quick succession just before half-time, the Liverpool fans could have been forgiven for wondering what the point was in staying to watch the second half, with no hope of a comeback given the list of teenagers Slot had to call upon from the bench. And while a Carabao Cup defeat is insignificant in normal circumstances, and maybe still won't register as more than footnote in a list of misdemeanors come Judgment Day for Slot, his complete disregard for a game of football in the midst of this crisis, the ill-deserved break he's afforded to the multi-millionaire players who have put them in it, and the way he's dressed up these young players being hung out to dry as an opportunity makes this far more of a factor in the admittedly premature sack talk than it otherwise would be. Make no mistake, this game counted. It's 6 defeats in 7 for the reigning Premier League champions. Liverpool screwed Mark Guéhi transfer in biggest Premier League regret of the season. Crystal Palace captain Mark Guéhi during the Community Shield. Crystal Palace captain Mark Guéhi is not in the Premier League team of the season, but if there's one thing he deserves recognition for, it's being the biggest missed transfer after Liverpool failed to sign him in the summer. Liverpool agreed a deal to sign Guéhi from Premier League rivals Palace on deadline day, only for it to collapse in the final hours of the transfer window. Mark Guéhi's failed Liverpool move. What happened next? Liverpool entered the season lacking sufficient centre-back depth. Ibrahima Konate exposed and unable to be pulled from the firing line. Virgil van Dijk's performances decline as a result. Guéhi remains professional and is flying with the Eagles. Guéhi has continued to establish himself as one of the Premier League's leading centre-backs, and a key player for England ahead of next summer's World Cup in North America. The 2026 tournament was a major factor in him deciding his future club in the summer transfer window and, after months of speculation, Liverpool and Palace agreed a £35 million fee as Guéhi entered the final 12 months of his contract at Selhurst Park. The Eagles had agreed a deal to sign Igor Julio from rivals Brighton, but the player backed out at the last minute and joined West Ham instead, for some bizarre reason. With no replacement secured for his captain and most important player, Oliver Glasner and Palace pulled the plug on the deal, and Guéhi stayed put. This left Liverpool short at the back, though they did only reach an agreement with Palace in the final hours of a 12-week-long transfer window, so really, they only have themselves to blame. No failed transfer has had a bigger impact than Guéhi to Liverpool. Following the close of the summer window, Liverpool boss Arne Slot was left with a serious lack of centre-back depth, underlined when he tried to ease concerns about missing out on Guéhi by insisting midfielders Ryan Gravenberch and Wataru Endo could play there if needed. His centre-back pairing of Ibrahima Konate and Virgil van Dijk were still regarded as one of the best in the Premier League, but an injury to either could have been disastrous in their title defence. This isn't to disrespect Joe Gomez or Giovanni Leone, but the former is injury-prone and doesn't seem to be trusted by Slot, and Leone is only a teenager and new to English football. Those two don't provide nearly enough depth behind the injury-prone Konate and 34-year-old Van Dijk. And Leone's season-ending ACL injury on his debut made matters worse. Ironically, neither starter has suffered an injury in the opening 3 months of 2025-26, but their performances have gradually declined. Van Dijk started the season strongly, but Konate's incredible downturn in form has rubbed off on his captain in recent weeks, notably in Saturday's defeat at Brentford, a fourth Premier League loss in a row for the champions. Konate's performances have been horrendous compared to last season and, with Van Dijk also beginning to struggle, fingers are being pointed at the midfield protection, the fullbacks, and how Slot sets up his team. The addition of Guéhi might not have completely changed Liverpool's season, but it would have forced Konate to perform or lose his place, given Slot a superb backup for the underperforming Frenchman, and potentially steadied the backline. With Guéhi alongside Van Dijk, there's a decent chance Liverpool's defense would look a lot stronger. The Reds really get it by waiting so long to agree a deal with Palace. The England international is available on a free transfer at the end of the season, and while Liverpool remain favourites to sign him, the lack of a transfer fee could invite Bayern Munich and Real Madrid into the mix, a frightening prospect for the champions. Mark Guéhi, a notable omission from 2025-26 Premier League team of the season. Guéhi's form has been tremendous again this campaign as Liverpool falter in the Premier League, losing their last 4 to fall to 7th in the table. Palace, meanwhile, were on a 19-match unbeaten run until defeat at Everton on October 5. a week after beating Liverpool at home and ending Slotside's 100% record in the league. Despite his top-notch performances for the Eagles, Guéhi doesn't feature in our Premier League team of the season based on WhoScored ratings. In fact, there are 4 centre-backs with a higher average match rating in the top flight this campaign. Making the team are Arsenal's Gabriel Magalhaes and Sunderland's summer signing Nordi Mukiel. Also ahead of Guéhi are Bournemouth's Marco Senesi and Sunderland's Dan Ballard, while Chelsea's Trevoh Chalobah has the same rating, 7.20. Having played every minute for 10th place Palace this season, Guéhi has been superb, and is clearly a player Liverpool will regret missing out on in the summer.